Good morning. Welcome to Sacred Enzyme. I'm Stacy. I hope you're doing well today. So, as promised, I'm back to talk some about this Melchizedek Cloister Emerald Order. And we touched a little bit on the last video that I did, and it is really super interesting. I've been reading a lot about it, and I apologize that it's taken me so long to do this video. So I want to read just the first part of this so you can get an understanding of where I'm coming from here, because it seems like a lot of different religions have pieces of this puzzle, but nobody has the whole picture. And there's literally clues everywhere. So when you start reading this, you're just like, oh, okay, that makes sense why these people do this, and this makes sense why these religions do this. Okay, so this is talking about our path of evolution. So basically, what the Melchizedek Cloister Emerald Order discuss is they discuss how our evolution came from the galaxies. It starts with our galactic family. So the path of evolution says, once upon a time, each one of us, before we went into becoming individuals, knew ourselves as I am. I am God. And not in power over anything, just in union with everything. As in God, the choices were made to experience ourselves in different pieces and different forms. So there was a process that we as gods decided to do. We decided to create a framework within ourselves, not outside ourselves, but within ourselves. This is where we get this Christ consciousness. Within ourselves, within our minds, a framework that used units of consciousness to create reality fields that we could put our pieces of ourselves into. So we can learn and be what we were, a creator. There's a path of creation upon which you go, from being an at-one-ment with the whole collective gestalt identity that we call God, source, right? And you pass through creation and existence within time. This is where we're in a time matrix right now. Then you go through a path of evolution after cycling through the 15-dimensional matrices, and then you eventually go back to the final stage, which is the path of ascension. That is the path of expansion back into what you once were, a face of God. So basically, this is saying that we wanted to create, and like I talked about, we have this cone of manifestation that came, and it went into lower and lower densities. But it starts way before then. So I think that we should probably first talk about our galactic family and what we're talking about of planes of existence and dimensions. So I took this lampshade, and because I like to have visuals to work things out in my mind, and I created these levels on here so we can all look at them together. Now, I don't know if you can see this. It's kind of dark in here this morning, but I have here this cone, okay? We start up here at the top. This is oneness. This is our one mind up here. This is our primordial source field, our primal source field. And this right here is outside of the 15 dimensions. And you know, I had tried to explain before that it's like plates stacked on top of each other. So we have a series of 3 dimensions in each plate, if you want to call it. Okay, we're down here at the very bottom, and we're stuck here. We're stuck here in this lower dimension of Earth. Okay? And this is, of course, we're carbon crystal. And this is dimensions 3, 2, and 1. And this is the D1, our first dimension. So we have 1, 2, and 3 here. This is Earth. And we're known as Taurens, T-A-U-R-E-N. Okay, we have a fourth dimension right here, 5th and 6th. And the fourth dimension is carbon crystal, but it is a carbon etheric body, and this is called Tara, and these are called Dorians. Okay, and some of these words you're going to recognize, like Tara. We have Tara in Ireland, the hill of Tara. And the story of Atlantis starts right here in this fourth dimension, and this is how they ended up here on Earth, and we'll get into that. And then above this second dimensional reality, we have the third dimensional reality, which is an etheric body, and this includes 7, 8, and 9. This is called Gaia. This is where it's also the people that come from this plane of existence were the Hyperborean people. This is called Hyperborea. Okay, if you know anything about some of these stories, there were a group of people called Hyperboreans, and these people are descendants today are the Celtic people. They're from Hyperborea. Okay, then we get up here into this fourth dimension. We've got 10, 11, and 12. This is the Christos. Okay, this is your hydroplasmic body. Okay, this dimension is called Arimathea. Yeah, like Joseph of Arimathea. And then we've got Jesus Christ, Christos. We're talking all about this dimension right here when we're talking about the allegories in the Bible. Okay, a lot of our creation came out, the human creation came out of this density right here, this density 4. You have the bird people that are in here. This is where the divine blueprint is held for humanity. Okay, and it's been trickled down through these reality dimensions into this lowest one where we're at now, this density 1. And density 1 is as dense as you can get. So up here in density 5, you have the highest planes of existence, which is 15, 14, and 13. Okay, you've got the Braha Rama, which is the violet ray, the Seraphii, I can't remember how you say that. They're gold, and then you have the Elohai, which are blue. Okay, now it's interesting because future humans are going to be called Terranius, and you had a lot of groups that started here. They hybridized themselves by mixing their races with other genetic forms of blueprints, and you've got all these sub races. You've got like the Anunnaki, but Anunnaki is just a general term. Like you could say somebody's white, right? Well, just because they have white skin, that doesn't really mean anything. They could be Celt, they could be a white African, they could be a German, they could be, there's a bunch of different nationalities that you could be if you're white. It's just a term. Just like Anunnaki, there are different kinds of Anunnaki. They're good ones and they're bad ones. You had a lot of different races that have come to this planet over time, and we're talking billions of years. And our morphinogenic field has been hijacked, and this is why we're stuck in this first dimension reality down here. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about creation mechanics, because we have a lot of different races and a lot of people are confused about it. I know I've been confused, and this is why it's taken me a week, because I've been having to try to sort through what in the world all these people are and what race they are and how they got corrupted. I mean, it is a big old thing. So basically you have Nordic Anunnaki, you have Arcturian Draco Anunnaki, you've got Azrael, you've got the Zetas, which are the Greys, you got the Palladian apes, you've got the Anu, you got the Jehovian Anunnaki, And these are all different versions of races of Anunnaki and beings that are not good. And to add to that list of Anunnaki, we have the Jehovian Anunnaki, yes, Jehovah. And we have a lot of fallen angels that are just extraterrestrials. They're not angels. One of those fallen angels is Metatron. How many people have been praying to Metatron, right? Because we thought he was an archangel, a good one. He's not. Metatron is fallen. He's a fallen collective of Elohim that helped create the Phantom Matrix. And the Phantom Matrix is what we call hell. They created that. They created that. And they want to keep us stuck here. This is why our DNA has been tampered with. This is why people are sick. This is why the magnetic field is being destroyed. It's all an attempt to morphogenetically shorten our lives and harvest us. They harvest our energy, and as long as we can stay stuck here in a karmic loop, then we're we're being harvested. That's all there is to it. We come from Lyra. We come from Lyra. Humans come from Lyra. And Lyra is these cat beings, these feline beings, these bird beings. There were 3 races of humans. We're the 3rd seeding. We were seeded one time, and the reptilian, Anunnaki, all of these Nibiru people, they were all the fallen angels. These are the fallen angels that we talk about in the Bible. And the way that I understand it from reading this information is that when humans were created, it was an experiment, and humans were created to be able to evolve through 15 levels of consciousness to ascend back to the God source. It was an experiment, okay? And then when we got to the 15th level, we would basically be creator beings, just like these angels are, okay? Well, some of these angels didn't like the idea that humans, this creation that they were developing, that hadn't been around for billions upon billions of years like they had been, was going to be able to have the same rights and the same abilities as they would after they ascended these 15 levels of reality or dimensions, okay, and going through these 5 densities to become a creator. So they wanted to stop it. They wanted to stop it. And this is why you have these extraterrestrials that have been here using humans as slaves, using humans as breeders, because they want to put their genetic material into our human vessels. So it's a big thing for a lot of these races of these extraterrestrials to be on our planet, because we're basically seeded with genetic material from a lot of these different races at this point of these extraterrestrials. We've been given Nephilim genes. We've been given all kind of genetics. Some people have reptilian genetics. I mean, it's no fault of our own. We're humans, and we're stuck here because our memory gets wiped. And and I've also been reading that the moon is basically the recycling center. This like the mainframe there that the Draconians use. And also the other thing that I talked about when I was saying, I don't know, maybe about 6 videos back, I was talking about how we need to go back and revisit Nazi Germany in that time, because the math's not mathing. And I've come to realize on that, I've been reading on that, and I've ran across some information that yes, there was a split. And originally, and we talked about the Vril Society. Well, this Vril Society was trying to find the origins of their people, of the German people. Now we know that the Celtic people were in Hallstatt, Germany in antiquity, the Proto-Celtic people. So we're talking about Hyperborean people here. All these people were from Hyperborea, and they were trying to find their path back to where they came from. And so they set up what's called the Vril Society. The Vril Society. Okay, so on the Vril Society, they found out that they come from this planet or a star system, and it's called Aldebaran. Some people pronounce it Aldebaran, but I think it's called Aldebaran. Okay, and the Aldebaran were communicating, these higher dimensional beings that were on Aldebaran were communicating with psychics, or whatever you want to call it, that were in the Vril Society, because they knew how to work the Merkaba body, which is, Merkaba is the term that they use for like our magnetic field, entwined with our DNA, because we're all electric. We've talked about this. We've talked about how our cells are controlled by protein, that it's all energy, and we're electric. Okay, so they call that our Merkaba body, our Merkaba body. And this is why you have the Star of David. This star is basically an upside down triangle and a right side up triangle put over the top of each other. You've got male and female, and I'll show you an example of that. So, you know, you always have this as above, so below stuff, and this is not a very good, they're not very good triangles. I was just trying to do this for the point of demonstration. So when you put one over the top of the other, you get a star, okay? Okay, so here we got a star. We got a star. This is just decoration. But your Merkaba body is energy. So your Merkaba body is spinning like this. Spinning, 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 spinning. Okay, so what's happened is that our DNA has been manipulated. Okay, all of our strands are not active because we were programmed with DNA to allow us to ascend. Okay, and we had X amount of strands, and I'm going to go through all this because it'll be just too overwhelming to go through everything. So you've got your Merkaba body and your male, your masculine and feminine, because remember, originally we were androgynous. Okay, we didn't have gender, we were gender neutral. But then we were separated, just like Adam and Eve, right? They were separated. The masculine was separated from the feminine. Okay, so you have these spinning, right? They're supposed to be spinning in unison because we're supposed to be merging the right and left brain back together to become a bicameral mind. We talked about the bicameral mind. Okay, so what's happened is our Merkaba bodies are not working together like they should be. They're not spinning in unison. They're spinning in opposite directions, okay? They're not spinning in unison. See, this is why our lifespan has been shortened, is because our Merkaba bodies are not working right. Our DNA has been modified. Our genetic code has been hacked. And we've been seeded with all kinds of extraterrestrial beings that are trying to morph our genetics. And I think it's because they all want it, for some reason, they all want to inhabit this space because they consider this the playground. This is a sex planet. Basically, this is the place where you can go and you can use a vagal nerve, inhabit an avatar body, and you can be pleasure seeking. You can sit in the pleasure principle, right? And we've talked about the pleasure principle, and can we resist it? Can we not partake in all of the gluttonous, sinful things that are here on earth for stimulation? And that we get so stimulated that we forget what we're here for? It's basically what's happened. Basically is what happened. So, the three seeding of earth, we're the third seeding of this earth. The first two were completely wiped out. Now, to get back to Atlantis, because this Atlantis story is pretty interesting. So originally, the Atlantean people were in the fourth dimension, and we've talked about the fourth dimension being a physical place. It's a physical place. We just can't see it because We are not highly evolved in our frequency enough to see the fourth dimension, but people can. And you know, I've been getting messages from this dimension for a long, long time. And I just think it's because of my genetics. I come from the Hyperboreans, and I think that more of my DNA is activated. And probably why I've been a sitting duck for attacks from different types of entities as long as I can remember. Because they don't want you ascending, period. They don't want you ascending. They want you to stay here. They don't want you knowing. They want to destroy your magnetic field. They want to take your life. I have probably had a dozen surgeries. I'm not kidding. And I've been near death many times. Been very sick. So what happened with the Atlanteans is, like we talked about when we were reading the Edgar Cayce books, is that they were infiltrated on the inside. That this Atlantean civilization was on the fourth dimension. They were trying to annihilate the reptilians. They ended up getting blowing themselves up is what they did. They blew themselves up. This is why we have the asteroid belt. These pieces that are in the asteroid belt, this is the remnants of the planet Tara that these Atlantean people came from. We also, and you know, there's these, we have like shadow planets that are locked in with every planet. And our planet, there's another planet, and I meant to write the name of it down because it keeps slipping my mind, but it starts with an M. And these planets are in harmonic resonance with another planet. So Tara, part of Tara's planet, when it broke into 12 pieces, part of it got sucked into a black hole in their sun. And then part of Tara fell to our dimension, to the first dimension of reality. And it fell from 4D, it came from the fourth dimension into a lower dimension, and it got stuck here. So I believe that this is where we had the big deluge with Noah, and Noah was an Anunnaki, I believe. I think he was seeded by the Anunnaki. I thought he was Atlantean, but you know, part of these Atlantean people were Anunnakis because they were infiltrated. So they lost some of their Merkaba by merging with these lower dimensional beings, and working for what I call is the Black Lodge. You know, just like you got the checkerboard floor in the Masonic stuff. See, there's bits and pieces to this everywhere. So we had the deluge because this planet exploded, and so part of it fell to Earth, and so we had all of these Atlantean souls that are and other souls that are having to build themselves back up from where they were to where they are now, back up. So you had all of this interference with all of these extraterrestrial races. One of them is this Draco group, which is the reptilians. They were the ones that also infiltrated during the World War I and II, where the German people were talking to entities from Aldebaran or Aldebaran. They were a positive race, and they were infiltrated by the Draconians, because the Draconian or reptilian people, or whatever you want to call them, beings, they knew about Aldebaran's plans to help humanity get out of its lower levels of consciousness, okay? And they weren't about to have that. They weren't about to have that. We talked about how, you know, reptilians, their lower chakra, living in survival instinct. And this is why the planet is constantly put in a state of fear. Because if you can keep everybody in their lower energy centers, no one's growing, no one's changing, and you're ripe for the harvest. You know, this is why I talk about excessive meat and excessive sugar and all of these things. These are non-nourishing foods for us to clean up our energy zones. It's got to start with diet. because we all know about epigenetics. And epigenetics is where your food and things like that can modify your gene expression. And so it basically comes down to starting with our diet. And then we have to activate our DNA that is inactive right now so we can ascend. So what happened during Germany was you had two factions. You had the Germans that were working with these positive, higher dimensional Aldebaran beings, and then you had the other sect that was infiltrated by the Draconians, and you had the genocide and all of this that happened. Okay, well, these Aldebaran Germans, they went to Antarctica. They also went to, where was the other place that I read that they went? They went to Antarctica. Oh yeah, they went back to Aldebaran. And you know, like I said, that all these SS people, they had extraterrestrial technology. You know, they got it, and they get to Mars in 5 weeks, I believe was what I had read, and they get to the moon in just a couple of hours. No big deal. But the moon, from the way that I understand it, the moon is like an installation, and it's also where these Nibiru people, these Nibiru beings, they operate out of. So we've got ourselves in a mess here. Plain and simple. And I'm not going to talk about too many of these things in each video, because I found as I'm trying to learn this stuff that it gets really confusing. So we're going to end this video here on this, and then we'll go into another video and break this stuff down even further. But in a nutshell, we all came from these bird beings, and we were seeded 3 times. We're on our 3rd seeding. We keep getting hijacked in every way, shape, and form to keep us trapped here in this. We're in a firmament, and basically we're quarantined here, and we're trapped. So we're in a constant karmic loop. And so the Bible has been modified. You know, it was taken from the Celts, and there's so much information in that book. It's staggering and mind-blowing. They talk about Atlantis, and then you have Samuel Weir, who talks about, you know, the Atlantean civilization being part of Spain, and you know that it wasn't just in the Atlantic Ocean that Atlantis set up shop. It was all along the coastlines, because they used the water. They mined the salt. You know, they were set up along the 12 stargates. There's stargates on our planet that they were using to get to other dimensions. So we have these stargates that are on the planet. And 12 tribes was what was created in this original order. 12 tribes, you know, like they talk about in the Bible, the 12 tribes. Excuse me, they talk about the 12 tribes. There's truth to that. There's truth, a little crumbs of figments of truth in everything. So with that, I'm going to end this video, and I hope that that you're able to sort some of this stuff out, because it does take some time. But we're going to talk more about Atlantis. We're going to drill more down into this Emerald Order. Oh, and the other thing that I wanted to mention is I was really sadly heartbroken to find out that Archangel Michael is not a good archangel. That he's just like Melchizedek. He came here to fulfill the Melchizedek Emerald Order, and he fell just like Metatron did, just like Thoth. Thoth is another one. You know how we have the emerald tablets? Okay, well, the reason that we have the emerald tablets is because Thoth was trusted. He was trusted, one of these trusted ETs that was supposed to come here and teach the Emerald Covenant Order. And he did for a while, and then he went to the dark side and joined the Dark Fleet. And he stole these plates. They're called CDC plates. And basically that is the human blueprint. And it's these Ascension teachings. It teaches you how to get through these 15 dimensions. See, that's what Thoth was supposed to come here and do. And so he came and did some work, but then he flipped. And so he stole these plates, and he taught he taught the reverse Merkaba, which is our de-evolution, our delusion, our delusion. The Emerald Tablets false teachings, and he helped the Anunnaki to take over. He absolutely did. And it's just sad that, you know, Thoth and Archangel Michael, they both broke the covenant, just like Metatron and so many of these others. So I would advise you to stop asking any archangels for guidance, because one, they're not archangels, and two, they're ETs. You can trust yourself. We are a universal one until we come into our oneness and realize that everything we do affects each other. And we've got to raise the vibration of the planet, because this planet's going to ascend. It's going to ascend back into the fourth dimension, or you're going to fall into the phantom matrix, which is quote unquote hell. So one way or another, you're going to stay here or you're going to go. I choose to go. I choose to go. After I'm done with this lifetime, I'm out of here. I'm not coming back. I'm coming for the absolute. I'm not coming back here. I'm not coming back here. So with that, it's been 32 minutes. And when you come and find me, I'll be here, because we're living in the past, present, and the future, all at the same time. So get outside today, take your shoes off, put your feet in the grass, and download those plasma codes from our beautiful sun, and give thanks to the Universal Father and to the Divine Mother, Mother Earth. So thanks for watching on Sacred Enzyme, and I hope to catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.